integrity and anti-corruption. Three main focus that IIM provides is 1. Education, advocacy and training. 2. Research and publication. 3. Strategic collaboration. IIM provides consultations, assessment instruments and training services to government agencies, private organizations as well as small-medium enterprises, which include 1. Anti-bribery management system (ABMS). 2. Integrity assessment tool (IAT). 3. Individual integrity profile (IIP). 4. Organizational anti-corruption plan (OACP). 5. Corruption risk assessment (CRA). 6. Section 17A training module. 7. Integrity module for enforcement agencies (MIP). 8. Corporate Integrity System Malaysia (CISM) comprehensive module. IIM also conduct public training program for public and private sectors such as the Ethics and Integrity Training Module (ENI) and Do It Right Thing (ETRT). Integrity, Governance and Anti-Corruption Award (IGAN) 2022 was held on the 18th of January 2023.
Saya dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim dengan ini merasmikan Majlis AIGA 2022 dan seterusnya melancarkan AIGA 2023.
This award is to recognize and appreciate the efforts by agencies in improving the landscape and ecosystem of integrity, governance and anti-corruption across all industries in Malaysia. Community Integrity Building (CIB) is one of IIM's significant flagship program. CIB is an approach based on community integrity to help identify and implement solutions that encompass the jurisdiction of local authorities (PBT). This program is to encourage empowerment among the community to practice and implement self-policing, accountability, and check and balance in relation to the public service delivery. Integrity Module for Enforcement Agencies (MIP) is a training module catered for all law enforcement agencies in optimizing the understanding and best practices of integrity. MIP consists of 3 sub-modules. 1. Organization and individual self-reflection on integrity. 2. Do the right thing. 3. Best practices in integrity. Corporate Integrity System Malaysia (CISM) module. CISM purpose is to enhance the understanding on the importance of complying to corporate liability, Section 17A of the MACC Act 2009 for SMEs and micro enterprises. IIM has also established international and local strategic cooperation relationships with various organizations such as the Malaysian Alliance of Corporate Directors (MACD) and the National Integrity Commission (Maldives).
We believe that adaptive thinking leads to better learning. In this challenging world, adaptive is the key concept to sustainability that leads to a brighter future. At UCYP, we choose to be an adaptive university. UCYP was established in 1992 by the name of Institute Kemajuan Ikhtisas Pahang. Along the way, we've grown to become a prominent university college that is inspired by a high-quality education that is comprised of quality graduates, academic team, industry relations, and infrastructure. UCYP keeps moving forward to position itself as a recognized educational institution in the Southeast Asia region. Kebawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia, Sri Paduka Baginda Raja Permaisuri Agong, is the Chancellor of UCYP. At the Integrity, Governance and Anti-Bribery Award ceremony for 2020 and 2022, KYP Education Sdn Bhd KESB received both the Gold Award at the state level and the Silver Award for national recognition. UCYP supports both the local and global agenda on environmental, social and governance. Apart from it being a necessity for the future generation, ESG offers competitive advantages. International affiliation enhances collective spirits among higher education communities. The combined effort and expertise provide greater growth and opportunities. International conferences have become the platform for researchers, academicians, practitioners, and industry players to share their findings, experiences, points, and views on the targeted fields for the purpose of empowering the world via education. By engaging in experiential, campus, and community-based activities, UCYP students are molded to become future leaders with multi-dimensional talents and skills. In 2022, we celebrated our 30th anniversary, marking 3 decades of educating and leading a powerful generation that is capable to adapt with changes. We keep moving forward, not only in educating the nation, but leading them towards humility, sustainability, and innovation. UCYP, we choose to be adaptive.
Lepas Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, mari sama-sama kita dengan sukacitanya melancarkan majlis pelancaran ekonomi polisi dan sambutan Update 2023 lengkap ASP QIP dengan tema QIP Eco Green Empowering and Green Future. Wabillahi taufiq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, professors, doctors, distinguished guests, esteemed presenters, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to welcome each and every one of you to the third Business Management and Governance International Conference, BMAGIC 2023. My name is Harunisa Fazim, and I am truly privileged to be your moderator for this session. Before we start, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the events occurring around the world. Our global community is facing challenges, and it is crucial to recognize the impact these events have on individuals and communities. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to join me in a brief moment of silence as we send our thoughts and prayers to those affected by the recent events, particularly in Palestine. Let us reflect on the importance of unity, understanding, and compassion in these challenging times. Thank you. As we resume our conference, let us carry the spirit of empathy and understanding into our discussions and engagements. Our collective efforts in the academic and professional spheres can contribute to a world that values peace, inclusivity, and collaboration. This conference is a testament to the global collaboration and the pursuit of knowledge in the fields of business, management, and governance. Today, we have an exciting lineup of presentations from esteemed scholars hailing from diverse corners of the world, including Malaysia, India, and Nigeria. Each paper represents a unique perspective and contributes to the rich tapestry of ideas that will undoubtedly enrich our understanding of these critical fields. Without further ado, let us dive into the first presentation. So our first presenter hails from University of Delhi, India, and her paper delves into environmental efficiency of Indian companies. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Professor Manisha Sinha, who will enlighten us with her insights over the next 15 minutes. Please welcome Prof. Manisha.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kairunisa, and very warm good morning to everyone present here. So I'm audible? Yeah, you are not audible.
Oh.
I hope I'm audible to others. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Shall I start with my presentation? So can you please confirm that you can see my full screen or presenter screen?
This is not the presenter screen.
Okay.
Can you switch it to the...
No, you can see my... This,
yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you. So, a very warm good morning once again to everyone. So now I would like to start with the as you rightly said, that the world is undergoing through a very unfortunate events around us, and we all should be empathetic towards each other. So, in that light, as the theme of the conference is integrity, governance, and sustainability, and which is causing, some kind of damages which we are seeing. So, I would like to start with my presentation. Uh, Emphasizing, like in the last yesterday's session, it was more on the integrity and governance. I would like to emphasize on the sustainability aspect in my presentation today. So, as we all know, companies are engaged in different activities to create value for their shareholders and propel growth in the economy. However, in the process of doing so, they consume resources and generate harmful waste products that the that stress the environment. The result of the rapid industrialization over the last 500 years has resulted in a planet that is becoming increasingly unlivable every day. So many areas around the world are water stressed, and global warming has resulted in extreme weather events around us that have caused loss of life and livelihood around the globe. The world has taken note of this, and numerous initiatives by United Nations countries, industry, and other stakeholders have tried to address the harmful effects of industrial activity, leading to international agreements like the Paris Climate Agreement. So now a number of companies have taken initiatives to reduce the environmental effect rather, of their operations, and pledged to be carbon neutral and water positive in coming years. So far, a standardized measure to map these initiatives by the companies did not exist, making it difficult to track progress and measure outcome in India. The
Your,
Sorry.
your slide is still on the first page.
Yes. No, I'm
Just
just
in
building
the
upon.
introduction. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm just building upon the paper. So far, a standardized measure to map these initiatives by the companies in India specifically had not been successful. But recently, the 2 years back, the introduction of business responsibility and sustainability reporting being made by mandatory by the Indian regulatory bodies is a positive step in this direction rather, enabling the companies to report in the standard format. So, with this, I would like to introduce my paper, which talks of measuring the environmental efficiency of the company's operations, which could be mapped through by measuring how much resources are consumed and how much waste is generated for each unit of shareholders' wealth, as measured in terms of the market capitalization. So, a number of studies have been carried out to assess the consumption of natural resources, generation of waste, and emission of greenhouse gases by industry. However, there has been no study to analyze these factors together for the industries in India. So, my paper is specifically focused on Indian industry and the steps taken by the government in that direction. So, this study analyzes the sustainability reporting, which is now mandatory for the top 1,000 companies since 2021. And now my study is focusing on 2023 for the top 72 companies of 100 companies as per the market capitalization, which are listed at the Bombay Stock Exchange, which is the one of the major two stock exchanges. So, I'm going to study the four parameters which have impact on the environment. So, which are use of water and sources of water, consumption of electricity and fuel, emission of greenhouse gases, generation of waste, and its disposal. So, BRSR, I'm just going to elaborate in my next slide, has been analyzed. Just a brief introduction how my paper will evolve. analyze for data required under one of the principles under BRSR, which will speak on businesses which should respect and make efforts to protect and restore the environment. So companies have been grouped into various sectors, and analysis of the parameters has been made for each industry sector. The study also analyzes the changes over the two period, over the 2 years, 2021 to 2023, what changes have taken place over these last 2 years since it was made mandatory. And a metric for economic efficiency of the industry is derived to analyze the sectors of the industry which are most influential in impacting the environment in terms of the shareholders' wealth created. So this reporting, now let me talk about a little bit of background of the sustainability reporting and evolution of sustainability reporting in India. It goes back to 1980s. But it was not in the formal form. Informally, a handful of good companies were reporting on environment. But then at the official level, the government at the regulatory bodies level, the efforts started since 2009 by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs through voluntary guidelines on corporate social responsibilities. Then it kept evolving through national voluntary guidelines and then business responsibility report, which is BRR, which was made mandatory for top 100 companies from December 12. And then it was extended to 1,000 companies by 2019. Now, later on, to align with various kinds of regulatory requirements, and again, I would like to emphasize here, these were not mandatory, they were sort of suggestive, but yes, for certain companies top by market capitalization, they were made mandatory, but there were too many overlapping guidelines. So now to align with the earlier guidelines as BRR and national guidelines on responsible business conduct, of late, the Securities Exchange Board of India, which is again a regulatory body, made mandatory by issuing a template for Business Responsibility Center. Let me see if I can highlight. Yes, I'll use a pen. So it could, one moment, I'll just. Yes. So this business responsibility and reporting, BRSR as we call it in the short form, was issued in May 21, which is now mandatory for 1,000 listed companies from the financial year 2022-23. The BRSR framework operates on the comply or explain principle, and it encompasses a range of sustainability aspects such as the governance, environment, social, supply chain, customer, besides the other normal factors, usual factors. So it aligns internationally with the reporting bodies like Global Reporting Initiative and United Nations Global Compact. Again, because it is evolving, there were certain issues with BRSR reporting also, with the industry reported. And again, a BRSR core, as we see, report, again, was issued as a mandatory requirement, as an improvement over the BRSR framework, right, which consists of 49 quantifiable key performance indicators, KPI, and which is again now mandatory for top 150 listed companies as per their market capitalization from the fiscal year 23-24, and which will gradually extend to top 1,000 by 26-27. So this reporting, this kind of reporting which has now evolved and which has been made mandatory, at least for the top business houses, will benefit business to build trust and improve brand value by ensuring compliance, fostering innovation, and tracking the growth. It will better the sustainable and responsible future for Indian companies. So this is broadly the report I was talking about. My paper is based on this reporting only by the industries. So which has mainly three sections. One is general disclosures, as we see about the business normal, what does it do and what is the manpower and what are its main operations. Part B talks of the management and disclosure processes which the companies have to disclose how the things are, whether they are there in place or not. Right, and the third section is the major section, which talks about, which is divided into 9 principles, which are related to the 7 SDGs, which all the UN nations countries, the UN countries have adopted. So these are basically focusing on various aspects of integrity, governance, social, and the environmental aspects. So my focus of this paper would be on the principle 6, which says business should respect and make efforts to protect and restore environment. And here the KPIs would be the consumption of energy, water from different resources, emission of gases, wastewater management. So as practices and situations evolve, the BRSR framework will be revised and continue to show the high standard of ESG, that is environment, social and governance reporting, and the corporate sustainability reporting. So this is briefly the methodology which I have adopted. As I said earlier, top 100 listed companies have been, their BRSR reports, sustainability reports in terms of BRSR, have been identified, and as on 25th June, top 100 companies, they were picked up from the data was sourced from the stock exchange BSE portal. Out of the 100, 72 companies have reported, actually there was a requirement under BRSR that they have to report in both two formats, PDF and XBRL, but only 72 companies have reported out of the 100 sample companies picked up for the financial year 22-23 till September 1, 23. So these have been taken for the study purposes. XBRL has been converted into Excel by a tool available on another stock exchange. And again, we'll be concentrating on the principle 6 of BRSR. Now here, the major thing which we have done in our paper is the units of reporting have been different by different companies. So they have been converted into a common unit. For example, electricity and fuel consumption has been normalized to gigajoules instead of different reporting units like beta, giga, tera, and mega. And water consumption has been reported in kiloliters. Emission of hazardous gases have been taken in terms of tons of equivalent to carbon dioxide, and waste generated has been taken in tons again. So these reported absolute numbers have been normalized to the shareholder value by dividing them by the market capitalization in crores of rupees, that is 10 million. So now this data, which is normalized in terms of common units, have been used to analyze the efficiency, environmental efficiencies of the sample companies. And these sample companies have been further categorized into the following 20 sectors as shown here. So we start with the data analysis which which is done in this paper, shows for the 2023 that, as I've said, that 91 companies, they filed their reports in XBRL format, 76 in PDF. So the common 72 have filed in both the formats. So these 72 have been taken for analysis. So when I come for the to the four major environmental contributory or the resources used, while power generation needs, as we see here, the higher consumption of energy per unit of market capitalization is from the banking, metals, and metals is here the fuel, because energy we are talking in terms of electricity and fuel both, and the power sector here. Right? The use of alternate sources of energy is highest in terms of metals, the others, right? If we see across the down this column, it's only the metals which is using the alternate source of energy, because most the objective is to move towards the other fossil fuels. And here mainly the Tata Steel, one of the companies which I have analyzed was Tata Steel. The company reports that it uses turbines running on high pressure gases generated from blast furnaces, and also employs energy recovery processes. So while power generation needs fuel, the energy consumption by banking sector, if we see here, we see the bank has also used a lot of energy. So it is justified if the metal and power is using, but the reason for the banks which they are using is attributable to the consumption in their data centers. They use a large amount of fuel that can be attributed for the backup generators which they need for the data centers. So metal sector, that includes companies producing steel and aluminum, also needs coal for its processes apart from electricity. That is one of the reasons why these sectors are using more fuel and energy. Companies use water for their operations. The World Economic Forum has listed climate action failure, extreme weather, and biodiversity loss as the top three most severe risks, and these all three risks are related to water. So United Nations predicts that world will face a deficit of 40% of water by 2030. So it has declared 2018 to 2028 as the International Decade for Action, which is the theme is water for sustainable development and integrated management of water resources. So a number of companies have pledged to reduce water consumption or be water positive. Companies have been increasing investment in recycling of water besides reducing water consumption and reforestation and other factors. So here and in this aspect, I would like to emphasize here that quite many companies, the large international companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Starbucks, they have pledged to become water positive by 2030. And in India, Adani Green Energy has reported being water positive for plants operating at more than 200 megawatts capacity by April 2023, which has not yet been achieved, but it is expected to be achieved by the year end. So here, if we see the water consumptions from different sources, the largest consumption of water is from the companies engaged in power generation, right? This is what we see. However, in a significant portion of this company is from seawater, if we see. For the power sector, if I'm able to show. So, this is mainly used by one of the companies, which is Tata Power. And the mining industry also uses a large amount of surface water. This mining industry, so large amount of surface water and the groundwater. So these are, the results. Again, during their operation, companies generate greenhouse gases and release them into air. University of California estimates that around 18% of total GHG emission are from industry. And again, Kyoto Protocol in 97 was the international agreement for reduction of greenhouse gases. The developed nations have, as we all are aware, have pledged again to reduce the emissions by average of 5.2%. And the developing nations like China, India were not included in the agreement. And later the USA also withdrew from the agreement. So in Paris Climate Agreement in 2015, which was followed by Kyoto, following the Kyoto Protocol, 196 parties are signatories to this agreement, and they have pledged to reduce the warming to the temperatures rather by 2 degrees. So let's see how it emerges in future. But the first report, which is released in September 23, very recently, shows that much work is to be done to reach the goals of the Paris climate. So now here, if we see various kinds of hazardous gases which are being released, greenhouse gases, the major source of emission is from the mining, cement, power. I can highlight, if you can see here, the airlines is also there, and the oil and gas industry. However, the metals and chemical sectors score well, having lower emissions per unit of market capitalization. That's a surprise outcome. And then finally, the one of the last major resource or the consumption and the disposal is the generation. In the process of creating again value for the shareholders, they generate companies waste through their operations that fills up landfills and escape to the food chain. So waste directly impacts the environment, and its disposal pollutes air, water, and soil. So reducing waste will not only protect the environment but will also save on costs or reduce expenses for their disposal. So when the BRSR reports for these companies, 72 companies, was analyzed, so these were the results: total generated waste and total disposed or recovered. And this was the percentage in 2023. So here we see in the banking sector, and the if you see, I mean, I'm talking in terms of the percentage. Let's see the third column. The bank of here the banking, under banking, and under the industry, mining sector. Two particular companies, one was Bank of Baroda and one was Vedanta Limited in the mining industry, have reported that they dispose of more waste than they generate, right? And which is why their percentage is more than 100. So it can be seen, this has to be explored. So it can be seen from the table above that a significant part of waste is generated, is disposed of. Normally, in all the other cases that we see, they have been disposed of by the companies without harming the environment, right? So finally, if we see the last 2 years trends, 21, 22, because that is part of the analysis in terms of the four fuels, the energy, the water, the GHGs in terms of scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, and the next waste generated, there is a general increase, if we see in terms of percentages, in the resources consumed per unit of market capitalization. And industries are moving towards reducing fuel consumption, as we see from the percentages. And a shift is also seen in use of alternative source of energy. Groundwater continues to rise, the usage continues to rise through large areas of the countries, and hence the country is water stressed. GHG emissions show again an increasing trend, because this is the trend in the developing countries, besides many developed countries also. So, and waste recovery methods need improvement. So now I'll talk about the energy efficiency, environmental efficiency, sorry. So if we see, this is what we have, the matrix which we have generated by converting them into absolute numbers and then adding them all. So the figures show, and which is reflected in the chart also, the economic efficiency of different industry sector is derived through this metric. And for generation, as I've already explained, this is how this is calculated. It can be seen that the power generation, followed by metal power generation, followed by the metal, and then the mining sector are the industries that consume most resources or generate maximum greenhouse gases, and also generate maximum waste, to which is equivalent as compared to as per the common denominator of the per unit value of the shareholders' wealth. So Banking is also there, but bank is also using the only using the fuel energy. So, and improvement as a conclusion and suggestion, an improvement in adherence to good environmental practices is seen all across, as there has been improvement in the various usage and the disposal of waste can be seen, though it is minimal, very small amount in certain cases. So while companies improve their performance for disposal of waste and reduce water use, the goals of these parameters are missing. I mean, to what level they need to reduce, that is missing. And in the absence of these targets, it is difficult to evaluate how well these companies are performing in terms of reduction of the on the environmental um, harmful impact. So improvements again are because we have started the BRSR report. So and where which discloses their usage and the disposal. So the improvements are needed because here what we noticed was that the reporting units were not standardized, and we have to convert them into a common denominator numeric unit, and the companies have reported consumption in different units. Similarly, few companies have not even reported the mandatory data, which means that they were not complying, and this needs to be aligned with the system and processes because they were facing some problems in reporting. So that has to be, so the data was not captured, so that has to be taken care of. And there were few outliers, as I just mentioned, in the waste generation numbers in the data which we saw, the total waste disposed of exceeded the resources used. So the study recommends setting up of national targets for reducing environmental stress at the level of the government for different sectors of the economy, because the sectors which are consuming more resources and generating more harmful the gases, hazardous gases, etc., and they need to be given some targets, some time margins and targets, so that they are taken care of. I mean, as soon as possible, and this would then be mapped to the targets of individual companies, and performance against these targets will be analyzed and reported at regular intervals by the company and by the industry and at national levels also. So, further, the BRSR report should be modified and reporting should be made mandatory, and more stricter and stringent rules or penalties can be imposed on the companies which are not doing so. And the report also needs to specify the units and for reporting data for different parameters. So the way to get started is to quit talking and just begin doing, as said by Walt Disney. So that is all from my side. Thank you so much for being patient, audience. Thank you. So I'm open to the questions.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Due to the time constraint, we only can take only one question. Okay, so there is one question for you.
Okay.
Prof, how does the Indian government support and incentive companies to become more environmentally efficient?
See, the Indian government, as if they are, if those who are mandating, reporting in the mandatorily, so there are some concessions, there are some in terms of the taxations, in some of the other statutory requirements, and they are supporting in the all the efforts which the companies are making in terms of uh, taking these environmental friendly measures. Uh, and also, one moment, can I just exit? I'm not able to exit. My screen is still visible, right? Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So the government is taking all those measures in terms of supporting these industry who are following these guidelines, mandatory reporting, and they are giving some kinds of yes supportive in terms of, as I said, the concessions in terms of the taxations, in in kinds of incentives, in terms of supply chain management. If suppose they are able to manage the scope 1, scope 2 emissions, then some again concessions and provisions are being made for such companies to go ahead without hitch and follow those norms.
Thank you, Prof, for the answer. Actually, there is another question for you in the chat box, but since we don't have more time, perhaps you can answer the question in the chat box.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you again, Professor Manisha Sinha from University of Delhi. It is actually without doubt that taking care of our environment has becoming our first priority for the sake of our children. All right. As we transition to our next presentation, let me take a moment to remind everyone that this conference is not just about sharing knowledge, but also fostering connections and collaborations. Feel free to engage in discussions, pose questions, and make the most of the networking opportunities this virtual platform provides. I would like to welcome our next presenter, Dr. Halimatu Saadia Muhammad Saleh from University Technology Mara UiTM Malaysia, bringing forth a fascinating exploration of a paper entitled Omnichannel Strategy, Brand Equity and Consumer Buying Decisions in Retails in East Coast of Malaysia. Please welcome Dr. Halimatu.
Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Yes, we can hear you, Doctor.
Alright. First of all, I'm not a doctor yet. I'm still furthering my study, PhD. And today, I would like to share about my paper and until the literature review. Okay. Okay. Before that, I will share my presentation.
We believe that adaptive thinking leads to better learning. In this
Before that, I can't see the button for sharing.
Let us share the slide. Do you have the slide?
Okay, I have slide. Okay.
There should be a share screen button. at the bottom of
The bottom.
yes.
I can see the. I cannot see the menu below.
If it a moment, Miss Salimatun, we are trying to share the slide on behalf of you. Let me check with the committee first. Okay, I'm sorry, Miss Salimatun.
Yes.
Can we call another presenter first from UCYP? Okay. So we are trying to find to locate your slides, and then we'll be sharing on behalf of you.
Okay.
So I hope you can join us. Still with us, okay? But perhaps we would like to call another presenter, Miss Sida Tantiana binti Haji Sariat from UCYP Malaysia.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Right, I share the slide first.
Okay.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, it's visible. Can you? Okay, all right.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all lecturers, if you have lecturers here, presenter, fellow and friends. Okay, my name is Sida Tantiana binti Haji Sariat. I'm a PhD student, and then my lecturer and supervisor is Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Nizam bin Yusof. Today I will present about the transformational leadership and political organization performance in Pahang, a conceptual exploration. This is my table of contents. We divide by 7, which is firstly is a background of the study. Second is problem statement. Third, research objective, research hypothesis, methodology, finding, and finally conclusion. First of all is introduction for global politics. As we know, there is several politic landscape in different countries. And then in international point of view is depends during how they conduct during the COVID-19 pandemics. By Indra Consumadhana 2021 mentioned that there was study about the global political landscape in the time of the COVID-19 pandemics. And then they divide by 3 elements, which is realist, liberals, and constructive perspective. As we know, the pandemic was destroyed the global political landscape, especially the relationship between the countries. In this article mentioned that these 3 elements that mention about the realists. Realist, as we know, the countries or whether it developing or developed countries, they are believed on the theories only, which is, for example, how the COVID-19 can impact their countries and how the vaccine can cure their citizen of the countries. But it's different from liberals. The relationship between the country A and the country B, for example, the liberals minded is about they are open of the minded, which is when they are or country A have a win-win situation with the country B, which is they have the idea how to solve the problems on the COVID-19 pandemic issues. They will collaborate under within themselves. But for the constructivism perspective is the countries in the during the pandemic COVID, they are how they solve the problem within the developed, for example, developed and developing countries. The developed countries will construct and actively how to manage, especially for developing countries. These three elements is a very important, especially in organization, political organization in around the world, how they try to change and they try to solve the problem in health situations, right? This is from a global politic. We narrow to the transformational leadership. Transformational Leadership by Robbie Burns-Chia and Yan-Chia Lee Wang 2016 mentioned that transformational leadership must react dictatorous by educated their follower to create the missions and how to achieve the goal of the organizations. In addition, to be a good transformational leadership, the leader must through several training and developments to change how they think about the goals of the organizations and how they react to the voters and how they react to their followers in order to understand how to transform and change the goal of the organization. For example, previously, the voters don't want to vote for them because of the organizations. But if they are transformed, how to conduct, how to manage, and how to react to the voters, maybe that transformations leadership will change the minded of the voters and vote for them in the futures. Okay, in example, in China, they are enterprising the great leader, how to become. And then we know the China is dominant in economy nowadays. And we believe that the skills of the leaders may change in the way of thinking by their followers. Okay, we narrow down our research to the problem statements. The problems in the political and leadership skills in China is alarming by less sincere and insensitive to their followers. They argue that three elements that need assertive action by the leader to solve and improving the social awareness. This is very important because some of the followers or some of the leaders or voters, they are less of sincere. They never told the truth to their leaders. Compared to United States countries, they are preferred to being true and they are safe. They are safe rather than given the fake interpretations. The fake interpretations will provide the back goal of the political organizations. So that was a very important for the organization, especially in political organizations, to make sure that the followers, their voters, and also the leaders to be sincere in their what we are going to do, especially to make sure the goals of political organization will meet what is voters need or what the follower needs in their futures. There also the problem of the political organizations and the transformational leaderships is they're defined by William Pillay and Holmes and Law 2020 state that some of the leaders are being narcissism leaderships. They said that the relationship between the leadership and transform performance in several leadership's characteristic. They examine the leader adaptive and maladaptive narcissisms that can rating the charisma in leadership performance. The example provided by Donald Trump's that effect on attribute charisma and perceptions of his leadership performance. This is very important. But the problems of the leaderships that we are going to say that they are two narcissisms means that they are never think and they are never accept the opinion by the others, especially for their followers or their other leaders. This is important for us to get in very clear on how to accept the other opinions. This is several problems of the transformational leaderships, and to become very good in their political organizations, we need to change to less narcissism, which is we need to think about the others' ideas and opinions. Okay, the transformational leadership is very important or to make sure the goals of the organization we meet in future, especially if we want the voters from the voters. Well, and then for the followers. It's very important to not to think of the self-interest rather than the goals of the organizations. Again, the other problems that we looking forwards of the transformational leaderships is the most important elements in the organizations. We look at the article by Idris, Suyati, Suryanto, and Nanang AS 2020 mentions that there are some of the political organizations tend to continue the traditional way of that cannot solve the problem and capture what the new era of technologies. The leader must change the way of thinking to make sure that political organizations' goal may achieve. In the other hand, there are no intention to change may affect the performance of the political organizations. Transformational leadership inspires their members to change their attitude, belief, personal goals, and the way of thinking, changing the persuading subordinate, persuading their voters, persuading their followers of the significance of organization goals, entire aspiring motivations. We're looking forward here if the transformational leadership, if leaders don't want to change, they don't want to change and keep the traditional way. We know that maybe for boomers, they have no problem for the traditional way. But for Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, they cannot change if they are lack in the technologies. So the technologies we know now, we have a lot of mass media such as Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and so on. If the organization, political organization are not captured with the technologies nowadays, will be turned to the problem of the politicians, the problems of the organizations in that politics. Maybe we don't know the next elections, there were effect of the performance and the effect for the less voters to vote for them. So it's very important to capture the technologies. But some of the leadership don't want to transform. They don't want to change what the traditional way they lead by today's. But we know not only the boomers that wants to know how the leader lead their performance, how the leader leads the organization. But the important is the others issue is the other generation also want to look at how the leader react on the problems, how the leader react on the situation facing nowadays. Not only the currents or the small society like boomers. All right. And then in my research, I focusing on the two of the objective, which is to investigate the relationship between the transformational leaderships and political organizations' performance, and also to provide recommended for political practice and policy, such as to being changed, how to being changed to meet the goals of the organizations. And also this is my research methodology, which is number one is responding unit and analysis. We are focusing on 200 persons of committee divisions head in the several political party. And the population sample, we are only taken 160 by KG and Morgan 1970. And then for the method and sampling, we are using the quantitative throw questionnaire to purpose sampling technique. And then we find several here, like a demographic respondent frequency analysis. We run using the SPSS, the frequency analysis, and then we look at here the data analysis by using demographic section, including gender, age, height level, and education parties that involves. This is very important to get the most finding that more closely on the transformational leaderships is very close or have a relationship with the performance organization of politicians. All right, this is the perspective analysis. And this study is qualified means value variable into three categories: low, medium, and high. And then we got the standard deviations there, right, for the performance and also leadership skills. Okay, reliability analysis to measure independently will be an indicator and its consistency and stability. And also the correlations analysis, which is we want to look at the relationship, whether they have the relationship between dependent and independent variables. This is very important to make sure that our analysis, our research, and our findings have the relate between these two dependent and independent variable. This is a validity in analysis, which is based on the questionnaire that we are given to the audience, which is the leaders that from the polity and organization also by Kaiser Maser KMO. I also running the KMO to see the index of coefficients was used to identify whether they appropriate for the further studies or not. All right. Therefore, the conclusions, this is a significant relationship between the transformational leadership and political organization performance, which is with the leaders transform how they lead the organizations from previous, maybe from the old, how old management to the new management, we change the thing of performance of the organizations, may lead to change how the voters to look at them, how the voters want to vote for them, and then how they instruct the organizations in the future, how they can do for their followers and the voters. So it can conclude that tribunal's time, such as now, the politicians should be capable in their leadership skills. Every day need to learn the new thing. Not only they think that they are leaders only on that way, but they have to transform their leadership skills to make sure that skills always been using in their futures. The means available in order to win the hearts of people in their constitution. Not only people, they only always about their followers and their citizens of the countries. That's all from my slide. Thank you very much. I open for the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sida. I would like to read one question from the audience. Are there any negative consequences of unintended outcomes associated with transformational leadership and ethical practices in political organization?
Yes, a very, very have and close relationship between them because as we know, if the transformational leadership have a problem or they don't want to change what they are think currently, and then they don't want to do any innovations to change the organizations, may affect the performance of the organizations.
Once again, Ms. Sida, for that thought-provoking presentation. Okay, before we continue, I have an announcement to make. Please to be informed that room 2 will not have any coffee break. We will continue with the presentations. However, our virtual audience participants, you can have your coffee break while listening to the presentations. Okay, I would like to welcome again Ms. Halimatul Saadah Muhammad Saleh from University Technology Mara UiTM. Ms. Halimatul, are you there? Are you
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Now,
you so much.
we will help you present your slide.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Okay. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all friends and audience. Thank you for inviting me to present. Today I would like to present my papers until the literature review. Okay, my title is Omni-Channel Strategy, Brand Equity and Consumer Purchase Decision in Retails in East Coast of Malaysia. Okay, next. Okay, next slide. Okay, my contents for today is introduction. Okay, first of all, omnichannel is a relative young concept within business, marketing, communication and other industries, having only been brought to the limelight as early as 2010. Sorry, previous slide. Okay, sorry, thank you. Okay, the omni-channel strategy has been introduced on 2010 and less than 15 years ago. And the American business consulting firm Frost and Sullivan defines the concept of omni-channel as seamless and effortless, high-quality customer experiences that occur within and between contact channels by Butte 2015. And omni-channel communication began to heat up on 2014 and above. Retailers and marketers realized that the potential in allowing consumers to reach out the businesses at their own convenience while still providing them with a consumer experience that they themselves could control. However, as referenced in MIT report, 94% of retailers still encountered significant barriers to integrating omnichannel communication in their marketing and retailing efforts. But in 2015, previous slide, sorry. In 2015, the first set of actual data points came out in favor to value the omni-channel communication, which is brands with omni-channel strategies retain up to 89% of the customer, and it was found and 45% of companies reported that omnichannel was a priority for their business moving forward from that years. Okay, next. Okay, the background of my study. This study is in omnichannel strategy that involve brand equity and consumer buying decision. That is still new, and this study is intended to contribute the pool of knowledge for the relationship between omnichannel, brand equity, and consumer buying decision. Which omnichannel success rely on syncing data, which is lacking in multi-channel, causing customer frustration. In this dynamic scenario, it is essential to understand the psychology and behavior of the customer for people the channel for buying. However, very few researchers have a research on channel detail in this of nation. As the quantity of purchasing channel has increased, challenges in retail sector also have increased. So there is a need to study the omnichannel, brand equity, and buying behavior of the customer. Next. The statement of the problem of the study. Consumer expect a consistently high quality of service, regardless of which sales channel they choose. The support must be guaranteed across all channels, and if the expert advises a customer, example in a fashion shop, the customer should also have similar or positive experience online. This is where proactive customer service comes to the fore. Okay. In premium multi-channel retailing, it's inappropriate to manage stock through spreadsheet and outdated legacy system. It will result in such problem as understocking, overselling back orders, and bad customer experience in the end. The omni-channel corresponding software can make the inventory easy to manage and more what we call that more easy and for the access lah. Okay, next. Okay, another statement of problem also, consumer take advantage of the channel hopping opportunity that result from multi-channel distribution. A customer has seen a product in the shop but want to order online, and she should be able to find the item quickly. But otherwise, customer will have a problem search for the item themselves and make another selection. Whether the right product is there, however, is unclear. This, however, leads to great uncertainty and as a consequences to the abandon of a purchase. Okay, next. Okay, in this study, we are using 3 models for theoretical framework. First of the model is STAR model by Davis 1989, which is the model is technology acceptance model. Posit that there are 2 factors that determine whether a computer system will be accepted by its potential user: perceived usefulness, and number 2, perceived ease of use. And the key feature of this model is emphasized on the perception of the potential user. And the second model is UTAUT2, developed by Venkatesh et al. 2012 as an extension of the original model unified theory of acceptance and use of the technology. Additionally, include factors relevant for the customer market that influence the behavioral intention to use the new technology like omni-channel. Okay, next. The third model we use is CBBE model. This model is based on customer-based brand equity to show how a brand success can be directly attributed to customers' attitude towards that brand. The best known CBBE model is by Keller model, devised by Professor of Marketing Kevin Lane Keller and published in his Mighty Strategic Brand Management. Next. Okay, the research objective for my topic is to investigate the level of omnichannel strategy in retail in East Coast of Malaysia. And then the second one, to investigate the level of brand equity in retails in East Coast of Malaysia. And then the third one is to investigate the consumer buying decision for retails in East Coast of Malaysia. And the fourth one, to investigate the relationship between omni-channel strategy, brand equity and consumer buying decision in retail in East Coast of Malaysia. And then the fifth one, to investigate the relative contribution of omni-channel strategy toward brand equity and consumer buying decision in retail in East Coast of Malaysia. Okay, next, the research question. Okay, for research questions, the question number one, what is the level of omnichannel strategy usage in retails in East Coast of Malaysia? And what is the level of product brand equity using omnichannel strategy for retail in East Coast of Malaysia? And then third one, research question number three, what is the level of consumer buying decision in omnichannel strategy? And RQ number four, what is the relationship between omnichannel strategy and brand equity? And research question number five, what is the relationship between omnichannel strategy and consumer buying decision in Malaysia? And number six, what is the relative contribution between omnichannel towards brand equity and consumer buying decision in Malaysia? Okay, next. Scope and limitation of study. This study, the scope of study is about the relationship of omnichannel strategy, brand equity and consumer buying decision in retail in East Coast of Malaysia. The study will involve 500 respondents to answer the question via Google Forms, and then the respondents are from retail consumer in East Coast of Malaysia. Okay, next. Okay, this is the hypothesis for this study. In this study, researchers apprehend the following hypotheses based on literature synthesis and understanding and background of the study. Okay, hypothesis null. There is no significant relationship between omnichannel strategy and brand equity in retails in East Coast. The hypothesis number one, there is a significant relationship between omnichannel strategy and brand equity in retails in East Coast of Malaysia. Then the number two, null hypothesis is there is no significant relationship between omnichannel strategy and consumer purchase decision in retails in East Coast of Malaysia. And hypothesis number two, there is a significant relationship between omnichannel strategy and consumer purchase decision in retails in East Coast of Malaysia. Next. The significance of the study. The study is significant because there are still a lot of opportunity to explore knowledge about omnichannel fulfillment and remove barriers across online, mobile and businesses, have more opportunity to analyze and shape consumers' procrastination and reaction to stockouts. Omnichannel retails aim to provide a consistent and seamless experience across all channels. Okay, next. For the literature review, according to Gaverson, okay, this is some of the literature review that I collect, and according to Gaverson 2015, the best explanation of omnichannel marketing is that an organization should look at every channel that exists and perform it well. Omnichannel or omni is something notable. It is about the right stability, continuity, and excellent customer experience. It means that organization looks ahead and perceive what the customer needs or want. So they are prepared for their desires at every level, including marketing, buying, customer service, and post-service. It is not just the touch point. The whole company must feel the customer first involvement and genuinely want to make every customer ecstatic with the experience. And next, okay, the omni-channel is identifying all things in advance. It gives the customer the security of knowing that every future experience with a specific company will be above reproach. Omnichannel marketing is the consistent level of service and interaction that keeps a customer not only coming back, but referring the organization to others by Scholar Palma, Stern and El Ansari, 2016. The conception of omnichannel also is not to favor a single channel of retail, but instead focusing on all channels of trade to customers and confirming wherever, however, or whenever they want products. The ongoing um, Groover 2012 stated that the ongoing transformation in technologies make it promising for omnichannel to provide an identical consumer experience and service for every customer. Customers anticipate a unified experience which make them effortless shifting them between the digital and physical channels. Okay, that's all from me. Okay, next. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for the invitation. And
Yes.
any question can ask me.
Good. There is one question that I would like to read from the chat box. In your point of view, beside the ethical practices, hold on. One moment.
I cannot see the chat box.
All right. Okay. In your point of view, beside the ethical practices, what other
Sorry.
variables also could moderate the relationship between transformational leadership and oh, sorry. That one is for the previous presenter. I'm sorry. Okay. The question for you: how do
Sorry.
local cultural preferences and regional differences affect consumer buying decisions in East Coast Malaysia's retail sector?
Pardon me?
Okay, I repeat the question. How
Pardon?
do local
Ah,
cultural preferences and regional differences
look.
affect consumer buying
Ah,
decisions in East Coast Malaysia's
hmm.
retail sector?
Okay, the local.
Local preferences and
And
regional differences.
regional differences affect the consumer buying decision.
Yes.
Okay, for local preferences, actually, we are moving to use internet and the technology, and every people at least have their their phone and their network. Okay, um, everybody for consumer buying decision. Okay, every day we can see the uh, consumer make decision on what they buy and what uh, the need and what they want. And for the local sometimes limitation is there. Scope of what they want also different with regional. We can see at uh, the we call that the city and local here and east coast of Malaysia. Sometimes the level of uh, a salary or level of education, that is the different uh, from what the decision that they can make for their buying products or services. Yeah, the
Yes.
differences maybe knowledge, maybe the level of income or their education. that also can be part of their buying decision process. Okay, that's my answer.
And Matul, for
Yeah.
your answer and also for your insightful presentation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, thank you so much.
okay, thank you. Right, before we move forward, I would like to remind all presenters that the duration for this parallel session is 15 minutes only. We hope that you can finish your presentation within the time given, since we are having our closing ceremony at 11:30 a.m. Malaysia time. All right, so I would like to call the next presenter, Miss Nurul Izzah Lubis from Universitas Potensi Utama Medan, Indonesia. Miss Nurul Izzah, are you here with us? A 5-minute break before we move on to the next presenters. I hope that our next presenters, Ms. Nurul Izzah Lubis, Ms. Anis Turaya Muhammad Rozi from University Technology Mara, UITM, Dr. Ediri Joseph from Dennis Osadebe University, Nigeria, and also Ms. Nur Amira Muhammad Zakaria, also from UITM, will be here with us after this 5-minute break. Thank you.
siswa-mahasiswa di seluruh CIP dan juga ianya dapat mengitar semula barang yang kita
Hello,
ada
Assalamualaikum.
di dalam bilik ataupun di sekitar kita.
Dapat memupuk semangat kerjasama di antara mahasiswa dan
Just
juga
want to test
staf-staf.
my mic.
Jadi program ini dapat sambutan yang sangat hangat
Hello?
dalam kolej ini.
Testing,
Dan
testing.
saya amat berterima kasih kepada pihak pengurusan
It's working? Is it working?
UCYP
Yes,
dan
yes,
juga
it is.
pihak Alam
Alright,
dan
yes,
juga
sir.
Slokam.
Thank you.
Saya harap pihak UCIP dapat mengekalkan program ini.
Program ini akan berjalan dengan lebih baik lagi pada masa akan datang dan lebih efektif dan juga strategik lah ke arah pembersihan kawasan-kawasan UCIP dan juga komuniti-komuniti lain, insyaAllah.
Saya berharap kempen ini akan berterusan setiap tahun diadakan. Jadi ucapan saya kepada semua, tahniah dan semoga kita dapat menjaga kebersihan kita bersama-sama. Okey, bye.
The Malaysian Institute of Integrity (IIM) is a company limited by Guarantee (CLBG) with an objective to be the main leader in the application and cultivation of good values in integrity to the community. IIM main focus is to develop the competencies and capacities of the public and private sector on governance, integrity and anti-corruption.
We believe that adaptive thinking leads to better learning. In this challenging world, adaptive is the key concept to sustainability that leads to a brighter future. At UCYP, we choose to be an adaptive university.
Right, welcome again to the third BMAGIC
UCYP
parallel
was established
session.
in 1992 by
I
the
would like
name
to
of
welcome our
Institute
next
Kemajuan
presenter,
Ikhtisas Pahang.
Ms. Anis Suraya Muhammad Rozi
Along the way,
from
we've grown to
UITM
become a
Malaysia.
prominent university college.
Ms. Anis, are you here with us?
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm here.
Salam. Okay. Suraya will be presenting a paper entitled Optimizing Supply Chain Management in E-commerce Strategies for Efficiency and Customer Satisfaction. Please welcome Ms. Anis.
Do I share the slide or you will share the slide, yeah?
Share the slide.
Sorry?
Is it possible for you yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hold on, yeah.
It'll be easier for you to manage.
Oh, yeah. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Anis Raya binti Muhammad Rozi from University Technology Mara. So today I would like to present on my research topic, which is on optimizing supply chain management in e-commerce strategies for efficiencies and customer satisfactions. Okay. So what is a supply chain? A supply chain is, in a simple word, is a network of companies and peoples that are involved in the productions and delivery of goods or services. Supply chain is a very important aspect in every industry, whether it's a large scale company or a small scale company. Supply chain, it will allow transformations of raw materials and components to a finished goods, or goods before it was being delivered to its destination. Supply chain does not only revolve in products, but it also covers logistic processes, warehousing, fulfillment, inventory management, and as well as last mile delivery. What it is meant by last mile delivery, it's a journey comprising the movement of passengers or goods from a transportation hub into a final destination. So in recent years, digitalization has made a huge impact to the people's life, as everything can be ordered through just a click away. But how about the organizations? So each year, a lot of organizations are trying to shift their work process to a digital way, as it is not only convenient, but it's also fast. This shifting or transitions will also affect the supply chain process. This process is called as e-procurement, or in other terms for buying, it is called as e-commerce. Okay, e-commerce is a short name for electronic commerce, which is defined as the exchange of money and purchasing and selling of goods and services via digital communications or management of business communications and transactions via computers and networks. So there's a few types of e-commerce in the industries, but the usual one that was used is B2B, which is business to business, and B2C and business to consumers. But in organizations, people usually use the B2B, which is the business to business. E-commerce will have an impact to all major areas of supply chain in companies, from designing through buying to fulfillment and service support, which will include the indirect procurement, direct procurement, product and service design, and manufacturing, and supply planning, fulfillment, as well as service and the support. So this research will look into the relationship between the supply chain management, efficiencies, and customer satisfactions in the context of e-commerce. Efficient supply chain management will not only contribute to cost savings and streamline operations, but it will also direct impact on the overall shopping experience and customers' perceptions of a brand. For the research background, in era defined by digital transformations and rapid technological, the landscape of business has undergone a shift towards the virtual environment. So the widespread adoption of e-commerce in recent years has brought revolutionary shift in the global business landscape, where online shopping has eased the consumer's behavior, which has been presented in the supply chain management system. So according to Gasgin, Huang, Samuel, and Silva, digitalization in supply chain is important because it can help global business to identify the best practices in supply chain management and enhancing the supply chain performance in an organizations. Supply chain also is the backbone of e-commerce business. So the speed, customizations, and choice are the three modern pillars of excellence in demand fulfillment, with focusing more on customer-centric and digital supply chain. By having these digital solutions for the supply chain, organization may make ahead planning on the resources needed. Okay, so in 2019, the world has been disrupted by the COVID-19 disease. So by having this COVID-19, it has made a major changes to the world economy, which made disruptions to the supply chain as well. So it has caused shortage of materials, labor shortage, and disruptions of the inventory management. So by enhancing the usage of e-commerce in supply chain, it will improve the visibility across the entire supply chain, utilizations of technology and data analytics, where e-commerce could be able to track inventory, monitor productions, and assess transformations in real time. So in COVID era, the e-commerce provided a safe and convenient way for consumers to shop without the need for physical contact. But then what we can see when we are purchasing something online, we cannot see the physical product. We cannot see how does the product usage. So when the items came to our doorsteps, the first thing that we need to do is inspecting the goods. So sometimes the goods are not in a good conditions. So it will make the consumer satisfactions become it is decreasing lah. Okay. So the next one, supply chain in an organizations will help to reduce waste by streamlining the process across the organizations in order to be more efficient. So it will allow track of movement of goods from one end to another end to ensure quality of goods, improving the relationship between the suppliers and the consumers. So in e-commerce supply chain, where delays and disruptions will have a direct impact on consumer satisfaction, efficiency is very crucial. So the e-commerce ecosystems will present unique demands that the traditional way of supply chain may not able to meet. Thus, it's calling for re-evaluations of the current procedures. So in this, organization will have a better understanding on how product is made, the cost incurred, and how to use it. By having digitalizations in the process, it will be more efficient and it will increase the satisfactions of the customers. Sorry. So the research following here, the usage of e-commerce in supply chain in organizations is growing in Malaysia, but there are still organizations that are still reluctant to use this technology. Why they are reluctant is most of the organizations, they only relies on the current supply chain management, which involve warehouse, stock keeping, and logistics. And the problem in organizations that they really take into account is, firstly, is the technological integrations, where implementing new technologies for supply chain may face resistance or challenges in the integrations with the existing system. So let's say that we are using the SAP system, and suddenly the companies wanted to take account into a new technology. So that will disrupt the current supply chain system that the companies has on board before. So it will be the compatibility issues, data security system, may restrict the usage of the e-commerce. So the next one is customers' expectations. So in e-commerce, customers' expectations, they are dynamic and sometimes they are subject to quick changes. So supply chain strategies, it needs to be flexible and well-versed in market trends in order to respond to change customers' demand. Next one is logistic challenges. So the logistic challenges, customers' satisfactions may be negatively impacted by disruptions to the smooth flow of the goods, such as, and sometimes they will have disruptions in the international shipping difficulties. It have unforeseen events that happen during at the warehouse. So it will lead to the inefficiency of the supply chain. And next one is the return item. As I said before, return items for e-commerce field, it's greater than those of the traditional retails. So logistically, it is difficult task in order for us to processing the refund, handling for the returns of the products and restock merchandise. It can affect the effectiveness of the supply chain as a whole. So for the research question, for the first one, how can e-commerce effectively enhance the operational efficiencies while improving the customers' satisfactions? Second one, how does technologies such as AI, data analytics contribute to the efficiencies in supply chain and impact the customer satisfactions? And what is the emerging trends and future challenge in supply chain management for e-commerce? And how can company handle this to ensure efficiencies and customer satisfaction? Okay. For the research objective, it is to determine impacts of supply chain efficiencies on customer satisfactions in e-commerce and to examine role of advanced technologies in optimizing supply chain process on customer satisfactions. And the last one is to analyze the emerging trends and future challenges in supply chain in e-commerce to suggest solutions to address the challenges and optimizing efficiencies as well as the customer satisfaction. For the significance of the study, this research would help the organization, customers, business, and academics for the operations efficiencies. The study findings have the potential to transform the operational frameworks of e-commerce business, which result in increased supply chain efficiency. So, in result, operational costs can be reduced, agility increase, and competitive advantage increase. For the customer centricity, as customer preferences and expectations are increasing, a deeper understanding of supply chain strategies is invaluable. So it is to identify strategies that will align supply chain operation with the customer demand. And the last one is academic contribution. So this research will add on knowledge of e-commerce supply chain management, where it will add on evidence and practical insights to existing theories by examining the effectiveness of various strategies. For the literature review, the growth of the internet and related technologies.
Anis? We couldn't hear you. Did you mute yourself, or is it because of the internet connection? We still couldn't hear you. Still no. On with your mic.
Oh, hello?
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
From which slide? I
think from this slide, yeah.
From this slide. Okay. So for the literature review, the growth of internet and related technologies have given rise to a number of transactional opportunities, which give business additional means of conducting business as exchanging communication informations. So this has resulted in expansions of the e-commerce market. So with the rise in demands, organizations have been looking for an alternative source to cater the demands of the consumers as well as the organizations. So by using e-commerce as an alternative, customers of users can browse the item needed and get the item just with a click away. But then how about the quality, the accuracies of the item? So this will be answers in this research after. So the first one is by enabling advanced technologies for efficient process. So in visions of Industry 4.0, the chain has become a completely integrated ecosystem that is fully transparent to all parties involved, which is from the suppliers of raw material, components and parts, to the transporters of those supplies and finished goods, and finally to the customers demanding fulfillment, according to Ardito, Petruzzelli, Panioli, and Garavelli. So this is because the digitizing process may make it easier to integrate business functions and supply chain members. So the process, which is according to flow, will help the systems become efficient and transparent to the users. Okay, the next one is the continuous improvement. So the technology of e-commerce determines what can be offered to the customers, but only customers will determine which of the technologies that will be accepted. So numerous studies on e-commerce have been conducted to examine the customer's behavior, satisfactions, and the value to make improvement. So satisfactions of user is one of the improvements needed in e-commerce. So retailers can expand the reach, improve customer satisfaction, boost efficiency by embracing the technological revolutions. So it will help to provide a better customer's experience, simplified process, which include inventory management and payment process, and it would lead to customer satisfaction as well, as improvement is made by the organizations itself. So the main purpose of this research is basically to identify the strategies for the efficiencies and the customer satisfactions in e-commerce in supply chain. So e-commerce, it really helps in supply chain management, where it will help to organize the work done at the end of the day. So with the rapid development and enhancement of technology in these days, it has taken e-commerce itself has taken the business to a new heights. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Ms. Anis. Let's move on to the Q&A session. I would like to read the question from the chat box. Okay. Okay, so the question for you is, what role does technology play in optimizing supply chain management in e-commerce, and what emerging technologies are making the most impact?
So currently, by using technologies in supply chain, as we can see, companies, for example, if you are using a third party in supply chain, basically maybe you make a purchase through the business to business platform. So from there, we can get all the data and the report of previous purchase from the system itself. So we wouldn't need to go through one by one the report like a manual way. You need to download from the system one by one. So you can get all those data is compiled in one reports. So from there, it's easier for the companies or organizations to see what have been purchased before, what can be done in order to what we call that, to enhance the supply chain management in the organization. So for example, maybe if we are buying one thing for like 10 times, so from there, the companies can see, oh, we always purchase the item. So why not we are doing a contract for this item instead of we are buying it day by day. Okay.
Ms. Anis for the answer. And truly, yes, the recent pandemic, COVID-19 is a major turning point to our livelihood, right? Okay, thank you once again for your enlightening presentation. Okay, now we will move to the next presenter, Ms. Nurul Izzah Lubis from the Universitas Potensi Utama Medan, Indonesia. Ms. Nurul, are you here with us?
Yes,
Glad
I'm
to
here.
have you here, Ms. Nurul.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure, we can
Okay.
hear you. Okay, so Ms. Nurul Izzah will be presenting on a paper entitled Behavioral Intentions of Flexible Entrepreneurs Towards the Prospects of Implementing a Blockchain-Based Value-Added Tax VAT System in Indonesia. Please welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, moderator. And thank you very much for all the presenters and participants that are here with me today. Let me share my presentation. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nurul Izzah Lubis, and I have two co-authors with me, that is Citra Windy Lubis and Gabriel Yudhistira. We are from Accounting Department, Faculty of Economics and Business from Universitas Potensi Utama, Medan, North Sumatra, Indonesia. We'll be presenting our research that is about behavioral intentions of flexible entrepreneurs towards the prospects of implementing blockchain-based value-added tax system in Indonesia. Let me introduce my presentation for today. Okay, the background of this research is that we found that prior literatures has demonstrated the progress of the value-added tax system in developing countries using blockchain technology, highlighting the potential of this innovative approach to address the weaknesses of current e-invoicing system. Whilst previous researchers in Indonesia have explored the potential of adopting a blockchain technology based VAT system, highlighting the country's potential for tax digitalization and the impact of the 4.0 industrial revolution, with prototype designs and smart contracts being used to validate these innovations. Another researcher utilized a qualitative method to study user perspective on VAT system implementation, highlighting the need for further research on this innovative approach. Based on these problems, it is important to conduct research on the possibility of implementing a blockchain-based VAT system in Indonesia by examining it from different perspectives and methods. Right, user behavior, among other factors such as infrastructure and environmental, is an important aspect of the success of a new technology, both before and after it is adopted by a government, organization, or company. This is important considering that implementing blockchain technology in the VAT system is not an easy job and requires a lot of cost. The intended users in this case are taxable entrepreneurs, that is TE, who are subject to VAT and have the obligation to collect and deposit the VAT or sales tax on luxury goods owed and report or submit periodic audit of it. In the decision process, individuals take the concept of change, weigh the advantages and the disadvantages of using innovation, and decide whether to adopt or reject it. Due to the individualistic nature of this stage, Rogers Eve 2003 highlights the difficulty stage in obtaining empirical evidence and noting the importance of individual attitude in understanding the definition of innovation. Hence, the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, that is UTA-UT, is a technology acceptance model formulated by Venkatesh et al. 2003, aims to explain users' intentions to use information systems and subsequent usage behavior. UTA-UT states that there are four main constructs, that is performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitating conditions. With these four key constructs, users' behavioral intentions can be measured more clearly regarding their acceptance of new innovations and technologies. Right, so the research purpose of our research today is that examine, analyze a method from the behavioral intentions of taxable entrepreneurs regarding the prospects for implementing a blockchain-based value-added tax system in Indonesia. Prior literature and hypothesis. Right. According to Setiawati MS et al. On the research 2020, in their qualitative method, they found that the Directorate General of Taxes in Indonesia could utilize the TISN system in blockchain technology to securely store taxpayer data. This system allows for faster and more effective ways in monitoring and tracking transactions. In another piece of their research in 2022, which is still recent, still using a qualitative method, the results indicate that the factors that need to be considered in implementing blockchain in the Indonesian VAT system are organizational factors, which consist of organizational readiness, support from parties with higher authority, technological readiness, innovation, governance, and internal regulatory process, environmental factors consisting of external government support, and technological factors consisting of data security, smart contract coding, architecture informations, and shared infrastructure. Whilst another research from Atmomin Tarso BE et al. 2021 uses design science research found that e-invoice generation in the browser can be used as a smart contract that is validated on the node using a key pair. In its testing, it was concluded that a large level of mining complexity required longer mining time. So in the system design, each node must have the same configuration so that the mining and adding new blocks process have the same time required. So the research gap is that the prior literature mostly uses a qualitative and design approach, also mainly looking from the point of view of either government, technicality, or facilitating readiness. So we use a quantitative approach that is through experiment method to see the behavioral intentions of taxable entrepreneurs towards the conventional and blockchain-based VAT system. Okay, so our hypothesis is that first, PEs with a blockchain-based VAT scenario experience a higher level of individual confidence in using the system as it helps obtain benefits and more optimal with VAT reporting performance compared to PEs with a conventional based VAT scenario. The second one is that PEs with a blockchain-based VAT scenario feel that the same system would require lower and smaller effort in VAT reporting compared to TEs with a conventional based VAT scenario. The third hypothesis would be TEs with a blockchain-based VAT scenario believe that it's important for others to know and use of the system for VAT reporting compared to TEs with a conventional based VAT scenario. And the last hypothesis is that TEs with the blockchain-based VAT scenario perceive that existing technical and organizational infrastructure can support the use of technology for VAT reporting compared to TEs with a conventional based VAT scenario. This is our appendix. There's Appendix B and Appendix A. Appendix A consists of conventional system of value-added tax in Indonesia, while Appendix B consists of blockchain-based value-added tax system in Indonesia. So these two appendix is the scenarios that we give to taxable entrepreneurs, users as a respondent in this research. Next, the method of this research. Okay, so we use 100 taxable entrepreneurs as our participants. That is the sample that we use. They're all from the Medan, North Sumatra, Indonesia. And the criteria that they should have is that they should have business turnover in one financial year. That's minimal. And then carrying out transactions through third parties, both delivery and payment of taxable goods and services. Experimental design task and procedures. Okay, so first, participants are given two papers on the different scenarios, and the scenarios consist of a conventional based VAT system and a blockchain based VAT system, along with a summary of the differences between conventional and blockchain based VAT system. And the third one, next, participants are divided into two groups randomly as shown. So the first group is that conventional based VAT system, and the second group is blockchain based VAT system. Predictor and dependent variables in this research. First, we have the predictor variables where in the regression formula used to analyze hypothesis 1 to hypothesis 4, PEs with a blockchain based VAT scenario and PEs with a conventional based VAT scenario are functioned as predictor variables measured on a 7-point scale where 1 is equal to very weak and 7 is equal to very strong. The question is that based on the scenario provided to you, please indicate your assessment of blockchain-based VAT or conventional-based VAT system. Next, there's a performance expectancy as a dependent variable for hypothesis 1. It's measured on a 7-point scale where 1 is very weak and 7 is very strong with the question, in general, how confident are you that using a blockchain-based VAT or conventional-based VAT system will make VAT reporting performance more beneficial and optimal? Okay, the third one is effort expectancy. That is a dependent variable for hypothesis 2, which is measured the same scale, that is 1 strongly disagree and 7 as strongly agree. With the question, in general, do you feel that using blockchain-based VAT system or conventional-based VAT system requires lower and smaller efforts in VAT reporting performance? Okay, the fourth one is social influence. Working as dependent variable for hypothesis 3, it is measured on 7-point scale where 1 is equal to strongly disbelieve, 7 is equal to strongly believe, and 0 is equal to neutral. With the question, in general, do you believe it is important for people to know and use blockchain-based VAT system or conventional VAT-based system in carrying out VAT reporting? And the fifth one, that is facilitating conditions, or the last dependent variable for hypothesis 4, It is measured on 7-point scale where 1 is equal to strongly disagree and 7 is equal to strongly agree and 0 is equal to neutral. With the question, in general, did you see that the existing technical and organizational infrastructure in Indonesia can now support the use of blockchain-based VAT system technology or conventional based VAT system in carrying out VAT reporting? Okay, so the result is shown as follows. Okay, we did mean and standard deviation so that we can know the difference. So from our research results, we found that participants with conventional and best bet system, conventional best bet system assessment, it can be seen that the mean assessment with the p-value 0.001, which means that it is significantly can be projected that both groups are feeling that they can leave blockchain-based or conventional-based to use in their VAT reporting. So this p-value is lower than 0.05, which means that it is significant. The same thing happens for performance expectancy, effort expectancy, and social influence. But from facilitating conditions, it can be seen that it's not significant or NS. And we can see the the rest of the results as follows. Okay, so this is the results for table 2, regression of both scenarios on behavioral intention with construct. First, in panel A, we do for the full sample. So we test for the full sample the coefficient regression using model F. And we found that in model F, for all sample that is 100 TE or taxable entrepreneurs, it can be seen that the result is significant, which the p-value is 0.000. Whilst in panel B, for the first one, we will see from performance expectancy, there is a difference from the coefficient regression that is 0.318, where it can be seen that performance expectancy with the group using blockchain-based VAT system is higher than the performance expectancy from the conventional based VAT system. So with the p-value 0.0098 lower than 0.05, meaning that hypothesis 1 is accepted. Right, next, we can discuss about effort expectancy. So in effort expectancy, we can see that group with the scenario of blockchain-based VAT system has a lower coefficient regression than the conventional best bet system, with the difference 0.293 and the p-value is 0.093, which also can be seen that H2 is accepted or hypothesis 2 is accepted. Next, we'll see from the social influence, that is hypothesis 3. With the difference of 0.189 and blockchain-based bet system is lower than the conventional based bet system with the p-value of 0.097, meaning that H3 is accepted or hypothesis 3 is accepted. And for hypothesis 4, that is the last one, it can be seen that blockchain-based bet system for facilitating condition has a lower coefficient regression, that is 0.478 rather than conventional best bet system, that is 0.669, with the mean difference as 0.191 and the p-value of 0.0696, that is higher than 0.05, so meaning that hypothesis 4 is rejected. Okay, so the conclusions of our research is that it can be concluded that for the 4 UTA-UT theory constructors tested on 2 TE groups receiving different scenarios, it is seen that the TEs who accept the blockchain-based VAT system scenario strongly believe that the application of this latest technology will facilitate and ease the processing of their VAT reporting with less effort so that they can minimize the risk that will be accepted by the TE. By knowing the significant difference between the conventional VAT reporting system and the prospect of the implementation of blockchain-based VAT reports, that is from Appendix C, they can fill some things that may help them as tax entrepreneurs. Okay, the second one, the SMTE group still feels reluctant to share knowledge or information with other enterprise groups related to this new system because the real benefits has not been felt and the experiences are perceived in conventional system, which makes TE with conventional system scenarios stronger to influence other parties to use the existing system. Okay, the third one is that the result of the fourth hypothesis rejected proves TE's mistrust of the current system in Indonesia, which is still making trouble in reporting system and disappointing TE. Hence, it reduces their confidence and made them feel that the government will not be able to support this new system by facilitating entrepreneurs with infrastructure that matches its technological development. Okay, so the novelty of our research is it is the first to use through experimental method to test user behavioral intentions using the UTA-UT model that is performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitating conditions towards the prospect of implementing blockchain-based VAT system in Indonesia. Okay, so that is the presentation from me today. We'd like to thank you for your given attention throughout the presentation. I'll give it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Ms. Nurul. Now I would like to read a question for you from the chat box. Okay, so one question for you. What concerns or challenges do taxable entrepreneurs foresee in adopting a blockchain-based VAT system, and how might these concerns be addressed?
All right. Okay, thank you, moderator. So how familiar are taxable entrepreneurs in Indonesia with blockchain technology? So if this question is given to me, I don't think they're too familiar with the blockchain technology. And I would like to admit that one of our limitations in this research is that we are using experimental method where the scenarios given to the respondent is not too comprehensive. So we don't give a comprehensive scenarios due to limited time and then the availability of the respondents. So we just give very simple scenarios, meaning that we share some knowledge about blockchain technology if they are to be implemented in Indonesia. But then if they are familiars or not, how familiar are they? I don't think they're too familiar about this. And how might their level of understanding influence their willingness to adopt a blockchain-based system? I think it will then be sure that if they understand that or not, it'll rely on how government socialize this new system if they are to be implemented. If the government is being extra on the socialization, I think PE will be able to understand about this blockchain-based system, as it has very differences in the conventional one, and I think PE can rely on this system much better than the current one, because the current ones, there are a lot of complaints, there's still a lot of down server, there's still a lot of things that makes TE disappointed with the current system. So the willingness to adopt a blockchain-based system, I think it will also rely on how government will make them confidence to use this system. I think that's the answer for your question, Salah from BSAGCY.
Ms. Nurul Izzah from Universitas Potensi Utama, Medan, Indonesia. All right, before we delve into more rich tapestry of ideas and research, let me take a moment to express our gratitude to the organizers, collaborators, sponsors, and everyone who has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this conference a reality. It is through collaborative efforts like this that we are able to foster the exchange of knowledge and ideas on an international scale. Now, I would like to welcome our Next presenter, Ms. Nur Amira Muhammad Zakaria from University Technology Mara UiTM Malaysia. Ms. Amira, are you here with us?
Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum.
Okay, good to have you here. So Ms. Nur Amira will be presenting on a paper entitled Consequences of Customer Experience Quality on Customer Perceived Value and Customer Satisfaction in Public Sector's Online Service Delivery in Malaysia. Please welcome Ms. Nur Amira.
First of all, I want to check. Everyone can see my slide?
I can see.
Yes, we can
All
see.
right. Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi, good morning everyone. My name is Nur Amira binti Muhammad Zakaria. I am a postgraduated student from UiTM Pahang. Right, so for today paper, I'm going to present regarding, wait, I'm going to make it slide. Okay, so for today, I'm going to present regarding my topic about this paper is consequences of customer experience quality on customer perceived value and customer satisfaction in public sector online service delivery in Malaysia. All right, so this is outline for what I'm going to present today: research background, research problem, research questions, and literature review. This is just a little bit regarding my this is my ongoing research. Okay. For first of all, for customer experience quality, this is something like research background that expand the literature on the relationship of relevant variable in the sport context and also offer various clue for other sectors. This is for instance as killer and frequent support to 2022, and also there's a customer experience quality significantly influence customers' trust and satisfaction based on skill of the attending terms. This is from Klaus and Madeline, 2012. And okay, for online service delivery, because I'm going to focus on customer experience quality based on the online service delivery, especially in government sector in Malaysia. So it's more cognitive information derived from individuals. Technological has established when they evaluate their intention to adopt new technology even before they experience the usefulness and convenience of the technology. This is by Lin ETL 27. And lastly, there's another research background, which is the service experience has an important influence on the consumer evaluation and consumer evaluation of the satisfaction with a given service. By Otter and Ishii in 20,000. All right, that is for my research background. Okay, as you can see, for issue, there's some issue in Malaysia. Okay, I got the sources from online service statistic chart for 2021. Okay, there's a few department from public sector in Malaysia. There's only few. There's a low. This is quite low number. The consumer visit their online service delivery. However, in 12 Malaysia plan, 12 MP, the government of Malaysia already want to strengthen and sustaining the current digitalized service delivery system that Malaysia government to want to increase the uses of online service as outlined in the public sector digitalization strategy plan, PSPSA, in 2020 to 2025, which is the government want to upholding the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, as known as SDG 2030. This you can find this in the Malaysia government portal 2021. And as you can see, the chart show visitor in public sector online service delivery in Malaysia is still low. So there's some issue why people do not visit. And then we want to know for this research, we want to know how about their quality of the experience itself when they go through all the website. It's either they happy or not. So is a very because the quality experience is more to emotional. So that's what we want to further study. That's what we want to do some research regarding quality of experience. Okay. So for this one, right. Okay. Okay, as you can see on the screen, there's some issue. The visitor in public sector online service delivery in Malaysia is still low. And for the gap, there's a few research already stated that they need to extend the model to examine the experience during and the post-COVID-19 pandemic. And also there's a gap between the gap for the study investigate the required quality and quantity of brand experience sponsor need to provide to achieve a lasting effect on event attenders. And customer experience quality expand the literature on the relationship of relevant variable in the spot content and all other, and also offer various clues for other sectors. Okay, so even though the literature on customer experience quality is expanding, there is a still gap regarding on consequences of customer experience quality in perspective of perceived value and also customer satisfaction for the public sector online delivery in Malaysia. Okay, now we go to the contribution. Okay, so for the contribution, what of course it will contribute to the knowledge and theory of the customer experience quality specific to public sector online service delivery in Malaysia, especially for government, and then provide government with better understanding of the quality perception, attribute to members and the output of customer experience quality in online service delivery. And last but not least, strengthening and sustaining the currently digitalized service delivery system that Malaysia government want to increase the usage of online service as outlined in the public sector. Okay. Next. Okay, now we go to my next question for the paper. I want to explore the importance of customer experience quality on customer perceived value and customer satisfaction public sector online service delivery in Malaysia. Number two is to determine research question 2 is to determine the relationship between the customer experience quality and hedonic motivation. Because hedonic motivation, we'll call it as a public sector online service delivery. So this is what I'm going to dig deeper. For research question 3, to examine the relationship between customer experience quality and customer satisfaction. Research question 4, to identify the relationship between customer perceived value and customer satisfaction. And last but not least, to evaluate the effect of customer perceived value and customer loyalty. Okay, this is something I'm going to explore further. This is what I'm going still ongoing, what I'm going to do with my research. Okay, so as my literature review, I'm just only stated few. I'm just highlighted only 2, which is a customer experience quality. As you can see, there's a few arguments, which is conclude that actually there's a many argument, but I'm just stated a few things. So I'm going to highlight today argument that based on the customer experience quality that conclude that customer experience quality is a multidimensional construction focused on customer cognitive, emotional, behavioral, sensory, and social response. This is by Lemon and Verhoef, 2016. And also there's a gap for the customer experience quality. Expand the literature on the relationship of relevant variable in the sports context and other various clues for other sectors. For other sector, I'm focused on the public sector for online service delivery. And for the key takeaway, I'm going to focus on determining the customer experience quality on customer perceived value and customer satisfaction in public sector online service delivery in order to encourage customer to revisit public sector online service delivery in Malaysia. So after I'm going to further research we'll do, and then we're going to know there's something maybe that's significant or insignificant further. Okay, literature review last for customer satisfaction. There's a summary argument. Customer satisfaction have profound effect on any organization, and satisfied customer always tend to revisit. Okay, for the gap, found the relationship insignificant. These findings suggest that each market needs to be investigated separately for customer satisfaction. So this is one of the strong reason why I need to also to go through customer experience quality towards and then to lead to the customer satisfaction. So the takeaway customer experience quality will lead to customer satisfaction, and emotionally customer will continue to buy, or customer loyalty will occur during
It's only it's not stop video. Well, you can stop.
All right, so as a conclusion.
Okay, bring up voice. That's what I'm telling you.
So for conclusion, this paper can lead to a better understanding of consequences of customer experience quality on customer perceived value and customer satisfaction in public sector online service delivery measure, provide government with a better understanding of the quality perception attribute to members and the output of customer experience quality in order frightening and sustaining the current digitalized service delivery system in Malaysia. Government, okay, which is of course it can increase the uses of online service as outlined in the public sector digitalization strategic plan PSPSA 2021 to 2025, which is we're going to upholding the sustainable development goals 2030 that's supported to the 12th Malaysia plan. All right, that's all from me.
Thank you, Ms. Nur Amira. Now, let's move on to the Q&A session. Okay, so one question for you. What strategies can public sector organization in Malaysia implement to improve customer experience quality and subsequently enhance customer satisfaction and perceived value?
Sorry, from where? From where is the question? In the chat box. What strategy can public sector organization in Malaysia implement to improve public sector organization implement to improve customer experience quality and subsequent? Okay, actually this is a undergoing research. Okay, so I do believe one of the strategy that Malaysia government can implement how to enhance customer experience quality is government should always survey and also make a questionnaire in order to see the level satisfy of the consumer when they revisit or visit the service delivery online service delivery that provided by government. So that could be one of the strategy, and also it should be government should increase the knowledge of the consumer out there that government provide this kind of online service, so that people will know. They will know and they will assess when they have knowledge about that things. Because I noticed during when I do this research, mostly people do not knowledge about this because they tend, oh my god, JPJ already provide the online service like that. Okay, so maybe government should acknowledge civilians to use more online service delivery in Malaysia.
Ms. Nur Amira, for your answer and for a very interesting presentation. Okay, now let's move on to the last but not least presenter from Nigeria. I would like to welcome Dr. Ochuko Samuel Alagba from Dennis Osadibe University, Asaba, Nigeria. Dr. Alagba, are you here with us?
Okay, can I go on now? Good morning, organizers and my co-presenters.
All right. Okay, now we can see you.
Okay. So good morning, organizers.
Good morning.
My co-presenter. I am presenting a paper titled Cooperative Societies as a Catalyst for Agribusiness and Rural Development in Southern Nigeria. You know, Nigeria is one of the emerging countries of the world, and so it's still more or less rural-based. And as a result, agric is one of the predominant culture or occupation in Nigeria. Meanwhile, let me also say that for this paper I'm presenting, I also have a co-author. The name of my co-author is Dr. Joy Ochuko Edeku. Is the co-author for this very paper. Having said that, now let me talk of the introduction. Agric is a major determinant in the economic growth of Nigeria. Agric is a major factor that determines the economic growth of Nigeria because Nigerians are predominantly agriculturists. They engage in farming. And so agric and agric-allied businesses is one of the main occupations of the country. Having said that, quickly let's look at the role of agriculture. In the days of agriculture, the main source of revenue to Nigeria as a country. But before oil, which is petroleum, before petroleum took over, the main source of income and feeding is agriculture. And while we were using agriculture, there were a lot of things that happened. The country were divided into sub-government, which is called region. And each of the regions specializes in the production of particular products. The Western region, for instance, were specialists in producing cocoa. And with revenue from cocoa, they were able to achieve a lot. And that is when we have the name of what is known as a cocoa house in those days. While the northern Nigeria specializes in the production of cotton, granules, while eastern Nigeria specializes in the production of palm oil. And Midwestern Nigeria specializes in production of timber and rubber. So these were the various products that Nigeria were producing, the various governments. And it became a sort of competition. And so each of the governments were working hard to make sure that they produce enough of these products. Having said that, let's quickly look at the individual aspect of it. Now, I have talked about the sub-government in Nigeria, how they produce various products for export and earn income to the country. Having said that, we now look at the individuals. In southern Nigeria, the main occupation also is agriculture. And the individuals, they specialize in the production of different products. The farmers specialize in the production of different products. And it is the farmers that produce the full requirement of the nation. And you know, when a country cannot adequately produce our own food, such a nation cannot be said to be economic independence. And so most farmers in Nigeria were peasant farmers, and they are the people who produce the full requirement. Because of this, there is need to make sure that the agricultural sector is properly funded. However, experience has shown that most conventional banks are not willing to give loan to farmers and small-scale industries. And the reason why they are not willing to give loan to these people is that the collateral security, certain items are required to be pledged to the bank before loans are given. these farmers who live in the rural areas are not in a position to provide those collateral security that is needed by these banks. And that automatically became a drawback to the ability of the farmers to get loan from the bank. Now, having failed in getting loan from the bank, it then means that the farmers need alternative source of funding. And the alternative source of funding that readily came to mind was cooperative societies. And the cooperative societies has risen to this challenge of making sure that loans are actually advanced to farmers who need loans. And with the cooperative societies coming to aid the farmers were able to carry out their business. Quickly, we look at the objectives of the study. The general objective of this study is to examine the role of cooperative societies as a catalyst for economic development. Because when the cooperative society gives loans to individuals, small-scale farmers, and small business organizations, they will eventually grow and contribute greatly to the economic development of the nation. While the specific So we have said that the general objective is to examine a cooperative society as a catalyst to economic development. While the specific objectives of the study is to examine to what extent has cooperative society advanced credit facility to these business organizations. Now, in discussing the impact of cooperative societies on organizations, Mr. Oguyiwa, 2021, has the following to say. He said that agriculture, commerce, manufacturing, and services, that they are the main driver of the Nigerian economy. And so that this small business skills in agriculture, commerce, manufacturing, and services are the main drivers of Nigerian economy, just as it is in other emerging economies of the world. Then he also went on to say that the government, realizing the importance of small-scale businesses, have decided to put up some programs to aid the small-scale businesses. But this program has failed. So one of such programs is called mandatory minimum credit allocation by banks. Banks were required to give certain amount of their loan to small-scale farmers and other businesses. But the banks, as I said earlier, they are unwilling to do that. Then the second program was known as World Bank Small and Medium Enterprises. Was also designed to aid farmers, small-scale farmers, and small-scale businessmen. Incidentally, all these programs by government, they all fail. It has been argued that about 60% of the working population in Nigeria are engaged in agriculture and allied businesses. And so in this very study, the authors bring to the fore of cooperative society the role of cooperative society as a major source of finance to farmers and small and medium-scale enterprises. Literature review. Let's look at the literature review. The literature is Ujelade and others, 2020. They examine the role of cooperative society in a village called Saki in Oyo State. And they discover that up to 80% of the land of that community was made available to agriculturists. And then they also said that over 45% of their income were generated from cooperative societies. In other words, the conventional financial institutions did not give them a loan. In other words, we can say that cooperative society is a tool for mitigating poverty in rural areas, and the activities and enhancing the economic activities of the rural dwellers. That shows how important cooperative society has played a role in the economy of Nigeria by making sure that the rural area and the small-scale farmers are all taken care of. Another author, Akani Olimade, 2020 also, he argued that more than 50% of Nigeria's population live in the rural area. So you can see that this study is actually very important, because we want to know the role of rural dwellers and their means of sustenance. And so we say that more than 50% of Nigerians live in rural areas, and these people cannot just be pushed out. He further argued that farmers lack the access to credit facility. Now, most of these farmers too, they also live in the rural area, and they lack access to credit facility because the banks are situated mainly in the large cities. And one of the barriers is for the rural dwellers to move from the villages to the cities where these banks are situated. And the banks too are not willing to give them a credit facility because they lack the collateral that they are expected to be presented. Quickly, we go on to the discussion of findings. Discussion of findings. Most farmers in Nigeria are peasant farmers, meaning that they are small-scale farmers. Most farmers in Nigeria are small-scale farmers who live in the rural communities with little or no access to banking services. The banks are situated in the big cities without branch offices in the local communities. And then the local communities, or those who live in the villages, have to travel a long distance to the cities. However, the banks are not willing to give loans or credit facilities to these farmers and small-scale businessmen for the following reasons. One, the small-scale farmers and small business enterprises have no collateral securities to pledge as a hedge against the credit facilities they are looking for. Two, the banks consider financing agricultural business as a high-risk venture. That actually, this is a high-risk venture because there could be famine, there could be fire disaster, there could be flooding, which can automatically wipe out the crop that the farmer has planted in the given year. And because of that, the banks consider lending to farming as a high-risk venture. Three, the bankers consider cost of servicing for small loans as non-cost effective. The banker believe that when they service a small loan, that what they spend in servicing small loans is something they spend for big-time loan. Therefore, it is more profitable for them to give loan to big-time customers. Then four, the long distances between the project site, because most of the farms are in the rural communities. And so the long distance between the project site where the farms are located in the rural areas and the banks, where the banks are, and the banks that are located in the cities is quite a distance. And because of this, the banks are not willing to grant credit facilities to farmers. Then fifthly, another very important factor why the banks are also not willing to grant loan to small-scale farmers and small business enterprises is the low level of the farmers and small-scale education. Most of them have low level of education. And because of that, it is difficult for them to effectively communicate and transact business with the banks. Conversely, the cooperative societies, which are found in all parts of the southern Nigeria, became the main source of funding. Now, this now places cooperative society in a very big position because the cooperative society, they are located in nearly all the villages, the local corners, the local communities, and they also understand the language of the local people. So the cooperative society became a very useful and viable source of funding. Out of the 50 farmers that were interviewed, 45 of them, which translates to 90%, said that they got their capital from cooperative societies, while only 5, which is 10%, said that they got their funding from other sources. Conclusion. Agribusiness or agricultural business encompasses all forms of farm production, including livestock, farm tools, input, transport, finance, storage, etc. Cooperative societies play a major role in mobilizing and encouraging farmers to embark on mass production. Consequently, agribusiness took the nation to an enviable height before the sudden abandonment of agriculture, which is due to the discovering of oil, now make Nigerians to abandon agriculture. Cooperative societies have risen to the challenge of funding. Cooperative societies, since the banks are not willing to fund these farmers and small-scale businesses, cooperative society has taken it up as a challenge, and the cooperative societies are doing very well in funding this type of businesses. Therefore, I would say that it is a welcome development. And then with due emphasis and encouragement, agribusiness is capable of restoring the lost glory of Nigeria. Let me say that as of today, Nigeria has a problem of any foreign reserve from only one source of income, mainly petroleum. And then you now discover that nearly all the food consumed in Nigeria are also imported. This is because agriculture has been abandoned. As a result of abandonment of agriculture, Nigeria spent billions of dollars in importing food on yearly basis. And we are saying that with adequate encouragement, because there's a lot of land in Nigeria and there's a lot of raw materials. With adequate encouragement, the Nigerian society is capable of standing on its feet again through agriculture and allied businesses. So quickly, we go on to recommendation. The recommendation, therefore, is that one, that the farmers, artisans, and small-scale entrepreneurs in the rural communities should be encouraged to join cooperative societies through cooperative education. They should be encouraged by giving them a cooperative education. And since cooperative societies are very good in giving finances to this type of businesses, so more artisans, more farmers will be encouraged to join the cooperative societies. And by so doing, these farmers will be empowered to produce more than they have been producing before now. Then the second recommendation is that government programs designed for the masses should be channeled through cooperative societies. It is the easiest way of getting to the people at the grassroots. Now, why this recommendation? We have discovered that government in the past has set up various programs to equip the farmers so that they could do well. But in most cases, these programs are hijacked by top government officials and privileged ones. At the end, the target audience don't get these programs that are meant for them. But if people join, if a government decides to join to channel her programs, either giving money to the farmers, making land available, providing technology, machines, with which farming can be carried out on a large scale. With the aid of a cooperative society, it will get to the people at the grassroots, which are the target audience. And so in a nutshell, what we are saying is that cooperative society, right from inception in 1935 in Nigeria, has played a prominent role in the economic development of Nigeria. It has played a prominent role in equipping the farmers, in equipping small artisans, in helping people that live in the rural area, and thereby leading to development of the rural areas, and at the same time contributing to the GDP, the GDP of the country. So cooperative society, really, we can conclude that it's a catalyst for economic development in Nigeria. Thank you for listening.
Dr. Al-Akbar.
Yes.
I think there are some questions for you in the chat box. However, due to time constraint, I'm afraid we couldn't do your Q&A session. Perhaps you can answer the question in the chat box. Anyway, very interesting presentation. I'm sure we are all absorbing a wealth of knowledge from these diverse perspectives. This is the beauty of international conferences, where ideas converge and spark new avenues of thought.
Okay.
Okay, as we bring this session to a close, I want to express my gratitude to all presenters for sharing the valuable insights, and to each one of you for being an active and engaged audience. Remember, the discussions we initiate here have the power to shape the future of business, management, and governance. I wish you all a continued enriching experience at BMAGIC 2023. Thank you, and let's keep the spirit of collaboration alive as we move forward in this conference. All right, as we wrap up this session, I invite you all to join us in the virtual realm once again. We will be transitioning to another Zoom link for the closing ceremony and the eagerly anticipated award ceremony for the best presenter. Before we do that, let's take a moment to applaud the dedication and hard work of all our presenters. The contributions have added immense value to this conference, and we are grateful for the insights they have shared. Remember, the discussions we initiate here have the power to shape the future of business, management, and governance. I would like to thank you, everyone, again. So you can all please move to the closing ceremony in room 1. Thank you, everyone.
Sedikit taklimat kepada saya dan juga tim saya bagaimana penilaian akan dilakukan antara kriteria.
Kami mencipta satu alat kawalan lah untuk menggunakan tenaga solar untuk menghalau tikus menggunakan ultrasonic punya frekuensi. So di ladang sawit kita ada satu masalah daripada tikus tersendiri.
If you're familiar with water treatment and wastewater treatment, yes. Actually there is one procedure which is called coagulation for water treatment.
Kita develop dia untuk bantu estate dari segi penyediaan ataupun penyediaan blueprint ataupun kerja-kerja pembangunan tanah semula kelapa sawit lah.
Kami gunakan kaedah semula jadilah, maksudnya kaedah fermentasi untuk menghasilkan rhamnolipid, iaitu teknologi biosurfactants.
Program ini membuka ruang dan peluang kepada industri dan juga pelajar-pelajar.
From Zoom as well. Greetings to Madam Nur Ashikin Baharudin, Ketua Seksyen Dasar dan Penyelidikan Institut Integriti Malaysia. Mr. Harsham Ibrahim, Ketua Seksyen Pentadbiran Institut Integriti Malaysia. Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Nizam Yusof, Chairman of BMAGIC 2023. Associate Professor Dr. Tan Lee Pin, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research Industry Linkages, UCYP Malaysia, IIM delegates, Vice Chancellors, Deputy Vice Chancellors, lecturers, and dear participants. I am Ilyana Shaharin, your MC for this session. I would like to give a special thanks to my fellow moderators, Mr. Chin Koren and Ms. Khairunisa Muhammad Khazin, for the two-day session of Business Management and Governance International Conference, BMAGIC 2023, bringing discussions from our speakers from different backgrounds, discussing their findings on various topics under the scope of business, finance, management, integrity, and governance. Dear respected audience, we are approaching towards the end of BMAGIC 2023. Allow me to invite Associate Professor Dr. Tan Lee Pin, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Industry Linkages, UCYP, to deliver the closing remarks, followed by the announcement of the Best Presenters Award.
Okay, salam sejahtera. Good afternoon. Okay, to Madam Norashkin Baharudin, Ketua Seksyen Dasar dan Penyelidikan Institute Integrity Malaysia, Mr. Harisham Ibrahim, Ketua Seksyen Pentadbiran Institute Integrity Malaysia, Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Nizam Yusof, Chairman of BMAGIC 2023, delegates of Institute Integrity Malaysia, UCYP Management Team, Dean, Head of Departments, representative from industries, BMAGIC 2023 speakers, presenters, participants, committees, members, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'm very honored and delighted to deliver the closing remarks on the last day of the BMAGIC. Okay, I believe that during these 2 days, all of us have obtained a fruitful discussion in this BMAGIC, in which the main theme is integrity, governance, and sustainability, building a resilient future under the scope of business, finance, management, integrity, and governance. We have learned a lot from the keynote sessions delivered by Yang Berbahagia Datuk Nur Yahati binti Awang, Chief Executive Officer, the Malaysian Institute of Integrity, IIM, and all the invited speakers who have shared their interesting view and work on various aspects of change management all across their respective areas. I'm extremely pleased that this conference is well attended by various presenters and participants ranging from governments and private officers to industry practitioners and experts coming from all across the region. On behalf of the committee, I would like to thank all the speakers and participants for delivering such important materials and discussions of various topics contributing to the deepening of our understanding. I sincerely hope that through your presentation and discussion afterwards, all of us can contribute to the application and implementation of topic at hand for the betterment of organizations and nation, in which will lead to the organizational sustainability and also the social sustainability. I would also like to thank and congratulate Business School for Asia, UCYP, for their enthusiastic and dedicated work. And also thanks to the delegates from Institute Integrity Malaysia for their supporting, right? and also be the committee of our conference today. And whilst also thanks to the Research Management Center, UCYP, for the support and advices providing during the planning and executing stage of BMAGIC 2023. Okay, so before the end of this conference, I would like to announce the Best Presenter Award. Okay, so I will start from the Civil Award recipients. Okay, so the Civil Awards recipients goes to Ahmad Zainal Hussein Harun. And the second gold award recipient of change into our business, our society, our nation. Okay, it's a usual practices. See you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tan Lee Pin, for the speech and for delivering the award to the recipients. Congratulations to all the award recipients. The presentations has indeed brought upon a new knowledge and a deeper understanding of all the topics discussed in both day 1 and day 2 of BMAGIC 2023. I would like to invite all participants to join together to commemorate today's conference in a brief photography session. If we may have the photographer ready. Okay, doctor. Okay, if you may stand. Okay, for everyone, participants, can you please stand? And if you can come closer together. Governance International Conference 2023 under the theme Integrity, Governance and Sustainability, Building a Resilient Future, with discussions comprised within the scope of business, finance, management, integrity and governance. On behalf of the university, faculty and committee, I would like to express my highest gratitude for the involvement and support throughout the conference. It has truly been our pleasure to become your host for these 2 days. I am Ilyana Shaharin, your MC and moderator for BMAGIC 2023. With that, I bid you farewell. Thank you. Assalamualaikum and have a great day.
Lepas Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, mari sama-sama kita dengan cerita-ceritanya.
Photography session. Dipersilakan delegates daripada IIM dan juga komiti BMAGIC untuk bergambar.